What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today we're going to be looking at NHL Network's top 20 centers. We're going to look at last year's list, and we're going to look at this year's list. Now, I'm going to give my general thoughts on where I would put certain players. I'm going to agree with a lot of things, I'm going to disagree with a lot of things, and I'm just going to give my general opinion, and that's where I leave it to you as well. Make sure to put your comments down below. It's just a conversation, it's also just an opinion. So you're going to have yours, I'm going to have mine. I'm going to pull up both lists so you guys can see them. And yeah, like I said, don't take this to heart. We're just going to be having a conversation, and you guys can make up your own decisions as well, and we'll see where some of these centers end up by the end of the year. Now, like I said, I believe this is done by the NHL Network mostly, so I don't think this is fan voted. I know they have a fan voted version, but I have both lists here. Let's take a look at them. The first one we're going to look at here real quick is last year's list. Now, there's a lot of really good names on here, obviously, and it's top of the board has Connor McDavid, followed by Sidney Crosby, and then so on and so on. You can see the list. Now we're going to pull up the list for this year. So there's some pretty significant differences on this list. There's some players that are pretty high up on the list that aren't even on the list anymore. Now the biggest one, first of all, is Kopitar. He is on last year's list, and he is not on the list this year. Now I know Kopitar has had not really a terrible or like a bad season. It's just where the Kings were positioned, I guess. They just believe Kopitar isn't even worthy of being in the top 20 anymore. Whereas I would argue that you could still probably have him in the top 20. Now, we all know Kopitar is a fantastic two-way centerman, and he is getting up there in age. Well, he's 31, but he still had 60 points last season. So, I mean, I don't know if the argument makes sense to completely have him off the list, but if we're looking at the guy who's at number 20 on the list, which is Elias Pettersson, he actually had 66 points last season, so I guess you can kind of make that argument. But there's a guy that's not even on the list this year that was on the list last year as well, and that is Sean Couturier. Now, I would definitely have him there over Pettersson. Now, don't hate me, Canucks fans. I think Pettersson could be tied for that 20 spot, and I definitely think he's going to bump way up in this list by next season. But Couturier actually had a pretty good year last year. You could really argue that he should be there. 76 points in 80 games played, 33 goals, 43 assists. I definitely believe that he should be on this list still. Now, going towards the top of the board, as we see last year, Matthews was in the number 4 spot, Tavares was in number 10. This year, number 5 and number 6. Now, I actually agree with the positioning of 1, 2, and 3, and actually 4 as well. I do like Barkov in that 4th spot. But I would argue that Patrice Bergeron should be above Tavares and Matthews. So I would have Bergeron at number 5, Matthews at 6, and Tavares at 7. Or sorry, Tavares at 5, Matthews at 7. Or, oh my god, I'm screwing up this whole thing. Bergeron at 5, Tavares at 6, Matthews at 7. The reason I'd say that is because I value Bergeron as the two-way defenseman. I truly believe that he is still way more impactful on the game. And this is no slight to Matthews and Tavares. I'm a huge fan, I'm a Leaf fan, but guess what? I still think Patrice Bergeron is getting it done at a higher level than both of them, and that, again, no disrespect, but I feel like his two-way game definitely deserves to be a little bit higher than where he is, even though he's still in the top 10, but I do believe he's a top 5 centerman in the NHL. Then another name I want to look at here is Evgeny Malkin. He was number 3 last year, and on this year's list, he's number 13. We knew he took a little bit of a backseat, and if you do look at these names right here, I don't disagree. I think a guy like Braden Point as well wasn't even on the list last year, and now he is at number 10. Well, that's what happens when you explode in points and have an absolutely fantastic season. Another guy who is on this list that was on the list last year and is not there anymore is Leon Draisaitl, who is in the number 20 spot. Now, I know Draisaitl's kind of played back and forth, the wing and the center position. That's probably why, because he had a fantastic year this year. But I think they're just trying to go for guys that are playing center a lot of the time. I like Sebastian Aho at number 14. I think that's solid. Jack Eichel. I would, again, a lot of people might disagree with this as well. I think I would have Logan Couture ahead of Kuznetsov, and I would also have Backstrom ahead of Kuznetsov. I really believe Backstrom's still getting it done at an elite level. 74 points last year in 80 games played. I believe that was a higher point total than Kuznetsov. So I would probably have Backstrom a little higher, and I bump Kuznetsov probably down to the 18 spot. Monahan had a really good year last year. Monahan had 82 points in 78 games played. You could argue that Monahan is very important to his team as well. He could, honestly, I think Monahan should be closer to the number 14 or 13 spot as well. That's another guy that could take a huge jump. I think Scheifele's positioned perfectly at number 9, Stamkos at number 8. Just a couple shuffling things that I would have done, like I said, with Bergeron going probably in the top 5. And then I'd probably have Couturier somewhere, probably in the number 20 spot. And, you could argue Pettersson could be there. I know he was very valuable to the Canucks last year, but I still feel like Couturier is a guy that should be on this list. You're not seeing guys like Ryan Getzlaf on this list anymore. William Karlsson. I believe Matthew Barzal isn't on this list either. Barzal took a little bit of a step back, but at the same time, he'll probably be back on this list eventually. William Karlsson, again, another guy who took a step back from an explosion last year, but another guy that, if he has another great year, you never know. But Getzlaf, I think he probably won't end up back on this list. I think he's on the back 9 of his career, but that's no disrespect again. Tyler Seguin took a little bit of a jump from the number 9 to 11 spot. But like I said, I think this list is fairly decent. There are some changes, like I mentioned, but I want to know what you guys think. I know this is just more of a conversation video, but I like the positioning. I still, I always debate, is Crosby still the best player in the world? I honestly, you could still argue it. I think McDavid fits better in this style of game, but I feel like Crosby just knows how to adapt to every situation, and that makes him very, very valuable. Still, arguably, him and McDavid, 1A, 1B, best players in the world. Whatever, we'll get to that again. I've made the video before, but I'll probably end up making another one, Crosby versus McDavid. I had a pretty huge collab on that one. I think I had like Ryan Farwell, Post to Post, Audie James. Like, I had a bunch of people in that video. I can't remember it. It was a while ago, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know who's the top 20 centerman in the NHL. Would you guys switch up this list? Let me know, and hopefully you'll subscribe to this channel if you're new. Join, please. That'd be awesome. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. I appreciate all of you as always, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.